delivering
It's
against
interesting
those.
you use that word though, eh? You just used the C word, customer.
Well, just because of my background of when you've lost,
when
a business has lost.
Do you need to ditch that a little bit?
Well, I would say,
just talk a little bit more normally. But I don't want to spend 30 minutes or 25 or whatever you've got left for you blaming someone else. So can you tell me, are you responsible for the state of the country right now?
Well, we're responsible for fixing the state of the country, and in the 11 months that we've had so far, I think we've made some tremendous progress.
So you are responsible now?
Yeah, look, I think the reality is...
It's just good to get that on the table. National stuck on 37-38, the election night result. Why haven't you moved the dial?
Oh, look, I think we've actually done really well. I think the reality is that we've made some pretty tough decisions, and New Zealand's in a really tough space at the moment.
Your own personal ratings have not been great. 25% preferred PM in the latest One News poll. You've looked out of touch at times. And that's what New Zealanders are saying about you.
Oh, I think New Zealanders also respect that I'm actually here to bring the skills that I've got from a previous life to actually sort things out and work our way through the mix.
But being in touch, answer the question.
Well, I think I am in touch.
51% of people say you're out of touch.
Well, I just say to you, I think I am. It's been a belief system of mine. If you don't talk to the customer, to the public, to the people, the voters, and actually find out what their concerns are, and their concerns have been really played back, and we're delivering against those.
It's interesting you use that word though, eh? You just used the C word, customer.
Well, just because of my background of when you've lost, when a business has lost.
Do you need to ditch that a little bit?
Well, I would say,
just talk a little bit more normally. Because you went straight to the customer, right?
Well, I was referencing it with respect to my past background in business, right?
I know.
And in politics, it's the same principle. But let's be clear, I'm not a career politician. And, yes, I use
What does that mean?
Well, it means that I come from a different background, right?
Yeah.
I'm the fastest person to get from entering politics to being Prime Minister. And yes, I need to work harder on less corporate speak. But that's who I have been for 30 years.
Naturally, that's who you are though, eh?
Well, that's who I've been for 30 years, and that's the experience.
Sometimes it looks like you lack a political radar. You put your hand up for the $52,000 allowance to live in your own mortgage-free apartment in Wellington. And when you were questioned about it, you said, quote, I'm entitled to you.
No, I don't agree. I mean, I think I moved incredibly quickly. When that becomes a distraction, I'm really straight up about that.
Was it wrong?
Well, there's a set of entitlements that, politicians are paid. I've forfeited that allowance, which is perfectly reasonable. I think.
In your maiden speech, you also drew on your Christian faith, and you gave examples of Christians who had, quote, challenged the rich to share their wealth and help others less fortunate.
I will say a little about my Christian faith. It has anchored me, given my life purpose, and shaped my values. My faith has a strong influence on who I am and how I relate to people. I see Jesus showing compassion, tolerance, and care for others. He doesn't judge, discriminate, or reject people. He loves unconditionally. And through history, we've seen Christians making a huge difference by entering public life and challenge the rich to share their wealth and help others less fortunate.
And if you want to have a go and you want to make something of yourself, we don't just do bottom feeding and just focus on the bottom. We focus on people who want to be positive and ambitious and aspirational and confident, right?
In what respect are you challenging the rich to share their wealth and help others less fortunate? In what respect are you doing that?
Well, I mean, what we're trying. My point there was actually about, from a faith point of view, I believe that I've got to use the skills, abilities, and experiences I have to actually, make an impact as best I can to uplift as many New Zealanders as possible.
Challenging the rich to share their wealth?
Well, that's exactly what you've seen across. You've seen many wealthy people actually putting foundations to places. With a number of New Zealand, I think about one New Zealander in particular who's doing incredible work on education. Doing incredible work around making sure.
You're talking about philanthropy.
Yeah. But I just say to you, there's sort of a bit of a thing which is, we don't want to castigate successful people and through innuendo imply that they're doing something wrong. We need successful people in New Zealand in order to create the wealth creation and actually to support our social institutions and our system.
Okay. In terms of fairness in that system, IRD did a study a couple of years ago looking at the 300 top wealthy Kiwis. They said that they paid a median tax rate of 9.4% compared to a middle wealth Kiwi who was paying about 20%. I mean, because largely it is because we don't have capital gains taxes.
Yeah, but let's have that conversation, right? Let's just take a step back. And the reality is that when you look at what drives productivity and economic growth, there's some things that we need to invest in very, very strongly. We haven't done that job. That is our major problem here living.
I'm glad that you raised productivity, because doesn't the absence of a capital gains tax and also the reintroduction of interest deductibility for landlords skew investment into the housing and in housing investment, property investment, which is an utterly unproductive area. It doesn't employ people at all. And yet your incentives have piled the attraction into property investment.
But let's take renters, right? So, we've got a problem in the housing market.
I'm talking about economic productivity.
Let me get there. I mean, so what I'm saying is if you look at the rental market, for example, what's happened subsequently? Rents have been stable, if not trending down over the period of our government. Why? Because those costs that were imposed on those landlords, and remember, people like to present landlords as actually being, super rich folk who've got, a property. I get all that. But actually, the reality is it's mum and dad investors who